Ready?
You ready, Vin?
We're ready.
All right. Good evening, everybody. We're going to call the meeting of October 12th, 2017 to order. Vin, roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Chera.
Here.
Council members Long.
Here.
Napolitani.
Here.
Shephaka.
Here.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Here. Everybody please rise for a pledge of allegiance, and then please remain standing for a moment of silent prayer thereafter. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. We got a big night ahead of us here. Glad to see everybody out here. We got a couple of proclamations to introduce too, and we also, before we do that, we're proud to say we have 2 new police officers who are going to be swearing in. So once I get through my opening statement, we're going to come down from the dais and do that for you. The notice requirement of the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting has been satisfied. A copy of the annual notice is sent to the Asbury Park Press Coaster and posted in Town Hall on December 29th, 2016. There are 2 fire exits, one to my right, which will take you out to the front parking lot. And there's in the back of the room, there's one there as well, and that'll take you down the hallway and also out to the parking lot. If you have a cell phone, now's a good time to turn the cell phone off. If you want to just silence it, you can keep it on for pictures, that's okay. If you need to make a call, kindly go out into the hallway. And without that, we should be fine. Okay, so now we're going to come down. We have a couple of proclamations and swearing-ins to do. So we're going to come down first and do our police officers. So Chief's going to come up. So before I turn it over to the chief, I just want to say this is something that I always say this, Ocean Township's blessed. We have 62 of the finest police officers in a great police department. It's an accredited police department and one that's very tough to get into. The rigors they go through, the application process, the interviewing process, and what your team goes through doing the interviews, it's an arduous chore also, and the captains and lieutenants, so thank you guys for doing that. But we're really lucky because of that. Anytime we post an opening for a police officer, we get 100 applicants. So Ocean's really, so we get the cream of the crop as well. So we're blessed to have some of the best officers in the back here. So let's hear it for these guys just for being fantastic. So I'm going to turn it over to the chief. He's going to introduce our new officers for tonight, and then we'll get on to the swearing in. Go ahead, chief.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everybody. This is always a good time to be the chief when you're bringing in new people, among other things that are going on. But the Ocean Township Police Department this year has been very visible in the community, as you've probably seen on the social media platforms. It was a big goal of ours this year, and we're moving forward with it. So we do like to be visible out there. We do like to meet everybody on the friendly level, more or less than on the law enforcement side of it. But tonight's a great night because we're bringing in 2 new officers. My first new officer is Charlie Wynkovsky. He comes to us from Belmar. He served there 2 seasons as a special law enforcement officer too. He has a bachelor's degree from Ramapo, and more importantly, he's an Ocean Township resident and grew up here. Also, Charlie's father, Charles, up in the front here is a retired detective sergeant. Worked alongside him many years. He's here to see his son being sworn in tonight as a police officer here in Ocean Township. So it's a great event, and it's going to be a good night. Second officer is Art Barnick. Art's a Middletown resident. Art served with the Essex County Sheriff Office as a special law enforcement officer too. He holds a bachelor's from the University of Hartford. Art has come aboard.
What'd you do? What'd you do, Chief? Hang on there, Chief. I was not a voice.
All right, anyway, so while Vinny's fixing that, I will now bring up Charlie first, page 298. Vinny, take the oath. There.
You have somebody to hold the... Before I start with Charlie, I have to share this story real quick. don't know if you're gonna remember this, you're gonna be embarrassed. He knows it's coming, so it's even better. So years ago, I was tasked with, coaching this little flag, not flag, it was Mighty Mike it was called. I believe he was a mite. Now there's a height requirement for the police officer, obviously you gotta be 6'4". So Charlie was in the team, and what was great about that team was, as a coach, you're on the field with these guys, and you're in the huddle. You actually call the plays, you get them up to the line, you make sure they run the plays. It's kind of like electronic football. Once they get up there, you don't know what was going to happen. They went all over the place. But it was really cool. So it was our last game of the year. It was around this time. We were closer to Halloween. And we get into the huddle, we call the play. You have 30 seconds to get this play off up to the line and go. And all of a sudden, the kids started. Charlie goes, "The coach, yeah, what is it, Charlie? You going to the Halloween parade on Thursday at the school?" "What?" "Oh, look for me. I'm going to be Frankenstein." All the kids started. "I'm going to be Dracula." What are we doing? All of a sudden, the ref is blowing the whistle. "What's going on there, coach?" "We're doing our Halloween costume." You remember that, Charlie?
Yeah, I do.
Remember
Why are you so red?
All right, so that's Charlie. Anyway, Charlie, left hand, right hand, buddy. Repeat after me. I, Charles Bonkowski,
I, Charles Markowski,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey.
of the State of New Jersey.
I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the position of police officer
of the position of police officer
for the Township of Ocean Police Department
for the Township of Ocean Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Welcome to the- So Charlie's wasn't picked up on TV, so that's good. See, he got credit for no. Now, he's the one who's doing his Halloween costume. All right. We have Arthur. Okay. They get taller. Here comes Art. So, obviously, this year there was a height requirement, right, Art?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. It's almost embarrassing. All right, do you have somebody who's going to...
Swear, you want a little school?
I need something. Rob, stand next to me. Make me feel better, will you? Good stuff. Hey, we'll be well protected, everybody, right?
Yeah.
Gonna hold? Okay. Okay, well, this is why Mom and Dad are of great stature. Okay, so left hand in the Bible, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I don't have a story for you, Arthur. Is that all right? Okay. You want to share one from your childhood? Anything embarrassing you want to bring up? Mom? All right, we'll spare you that. All right, repeat after me. I, Arthur Barnick,
I, Arthur Barnick,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the position of police officer
of the position of police officer
for the Township of Ocean Police Department
for the Township of Ocean Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome aboard. They pay for their own uniform, right, Chief? All right. Just checking.
Hey, Art. Art.
They charge them by the yard. We're in trouble. Holy cow. Good stuff. Okay. Well, thank you guys for that. We're going to dismiss the police and let them be on their way if they wish to. And then we'll start with another special proclamation that we have here. Oh. Yeah, well, let me,
Hey, Chris, the Assembly one and the Senate one.
by the
is
same,
exact
so I'll
same.
just go with, off of that, okay. So, okay, yeah, you can hold that one, John, yeah. We'll give them a moment.
That's the joint one.
Mike, can you get the back door for me? They're probably gonna be out there taking pictures. Close it. Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'm gonna call up Mr. and Mrs. Sadowski. We have something very special here. And I wanna explain something to you guys. Boy Scouts are here, something you might wanna know, something really cool, something historic in Ocean Township. So we have with us here tonight a man who was an engineer for Fort Monmouth. Back in the day, he was part of what they call the Moonwatch team. Now, what's Moonwatch, you're asking? So that was the group that was tasked to spy on the Sputnik satellite, which flew in 1957, back on October 4th, it was launched. And then we were looking for it because it was a race to the stars, of course, back then. And I guess the Russians beat us by a little bit. Anyway, so Mr. Sadowski was on that team, the engineers, that was tasked to try to find this thing in the sky. And lo and behold, as predicted, on October 12th, he saw a beacon. He was the one who saw it. And he found the satellite, Sputnik. So really cool. That was 60 years ago. And that was 60 years ago today. To the day, actually. So, as part of an Ocean Township guy here, as a part of our history, and there's a little something mentioned in the Deal Test Site, what I call it Deal Test Site, Playa Park. I've been around way too long. But this is the man here. So we want to bring him up here and honor him and see if he can tell us anything. Can you come on up? Sure. So, your family, you guys might as well come up too if you want, unless you want to take a picture of this. But yeah, we need Mrs. Yeah, you can come up while he talks. That's fine. Stay on the other side, kind of support. So, Stan, this is Stan, everybody, by the way, and he's the man. Stan the man. He did this. So, you know, as a child, you know, this story was conveyed to us, and I'm enamored by it, and it fired my imagination that somebody was actually doing that. And then finally meet the guy, and the way this happened was, I went to high school with his daughter. There's many of his beautiful daughters are here, but Jeannie, and Blair was a year ahead of me, and she had mentioned it to me at the reunion. Hey, you know, my dad was part of it. I said, that's a fantastic story. It's got to be told. So it's in our historical magazine pamphlet for this quarter, if anybody has that. It's a great story. It tells the whole story about Stan and his team and the Moonwatch and all that. But anything you want to say about it, just tell me how it all happened.
Well, the Sputnik was launched on the 4th of October, and our team was organized to spot the Vanguard 1 that the Navy was working on. Okay, and then the Soviets beat us to it, and
So Vanguard was ours.
the Vanguard was ours, and that was the Naval Research Laboratory project. And the Sputnik 1 was launched on the 4th of October, and most people expected, and we were trained to look for one single object for Vanguard. But then looking in the scope, the two bright parallel objects came by, and then shortly after a third less bright object. Okay, and this has got into the newspapers because there were rumors now the Sputnik is falling apart and everything, but it turned out to be subsequently it turned out to be the rocket, the nose cone, and the smaller object was the actual satellite. Okay, and that was on the 4th, and the Soviets again. Next month they they launched another satellite with a dog on board, and still beating us to, launching satellites. And the Vanguard finally was going to get launched in December, and it blew up at the launch pad. I don't know if you guys remember that.
No, wasn't aware of that.
Years ago, but that started off.
Richie would remember that, right? I don't. But so, very cool. So you were hoping to see Vanguard, and consequently what you found was those three objects, which turned out to be Sputnik's cone and the rocket.
In January, the U.S. launched the Explorer. That was our first.
That was our baby.
Was our baby, but still it was only like 6 foot tall, 6.5 inches in diameter, and it contained the rocket and the nose cone. It was one piece. But eventually they did launch a Vanguard on St. Patrick's Day in March of 2058.
So we finally got it up there. That was our satellite.
Yeah, but it was grapefruit size, small, and
Sputnik was more like the size of a basketball at 23 inches or so.
23 inches exactly. Yeah.
I read the article. Always do that before you interview somebody.
The whole event caused intense interest in science and technology here in the States. NASA was created that year. Advanced Research Project Agency was created, and even in our lab, I found myself going in evenings to work and weekends.
Big technology improvements, and you were there all the time, right?
Yes, so it was a great time.
Well, that's fascinating. I think it's so cool that you were the guy. What'd you think when you saw those lights? Like,
I couldn't believe there would be that many.
that's pretty cool. Did you know it was?
One.
Did you know it was Sputnik, or did you think it was Vanguard at first?
Well, we were told it was Sputnik.
Okay, you knew it was Sputnik. Okay.
Yeah.
Vanguard didn't come till after.
They were expecting it to fly over. That's why.
Oh, that's right. You calculated where it would be.
I got up in the middle of the night, and it was like 6 o'clock, and it was 6:20 in the morning that the flight came over.
Fascinating. Well, so we recognize that was fantastic. Let's hear it for that guy. I think that was awesome. And I have several Boy Scouts here, so I think it's great that the timing is perfect, that they got to hear that rich history of Ocean Township and yourself. So I told my friends about your story and about what you've done. And I made some calls to the state and the Senate and the Assembly. And so Senator Beck and the Assembly people, Hotel and Downey, presented a state resolution on your behalf commemorating this day, and that you did all that. And this is something I think will be great for you to hang up in your library. It's a heck of an honor, and so we just want you to know that this is for you and your family, and I hope you enjoy that. That's great. Well, thank you guys again for coming. I think that's fantastic and a great story. Oh, this is also, this goes with it. This is from the legislators as well. That's a paper copy. Okay, something else for you to have. Great, very nice.
Thanks again.
Thanks. Hey, thank you for making history in Ocean Township. We think it's fantastic. Thank you for coming. That's great. That was a great story. Yeah, you guys, if you want to go watch Jeopardy or something, you're welcome to. We got about 9 Boy Scouts to go through. All right. You're going to brave a few of the Boy Scouts? That's fine. So, Hang on, let me just see.
Boy Scouts, our son Mark is a leader down in Virginia.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
he's in the Boy Scouts here.
Boy, we're in a room of overachievers tonight. I feel inadequate once again, but hey, Mom, Dad, it's your fault. Anyway, so tonight we're honored to have with us. Are you guys gonna? You're gonna. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 Eagles. Now, I've done this before, and you got to understand the road to Eagle. There's quite a journey, and these guys will tell you. And I'll have Mr. Fernicola come up in a moment here, but Eagle Scout, just to get to there, like I said, there's many distractions for these young men to get to that point. By the time they get to the point where they can become or are eligible for this award, usually they're 16, 17, 18. Sometimes, it takes longer. College, even they come back, circle back. It's the dedication, just a commitment, just to do that. Only about 4% ever really achieve Eagle. So just for that alone, let's hear it for these guys. That's phenomenal. Bring up Mr. Paul Fernicola. He's from Troop 76, of course. Okay, let's hear it. Paul's also the mayor of Lock Harbor. Should I have said that? So, Paul, why don't you come in and tell us about your group a little bit?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and council members. It's very nice of you to honor the boys and myself. And we have Dr. Howard Gus, who's the Assistant Scoutmaster, and Jeff McKelney, Michael Dunlap, Rick Rosner, Lou Redbourne, Jim Delala, all served on the troop committee. It's been 6.5 years for these boys. It was April of 2011 that they crossed over from Webelos into Boy Scouts. And we've had many camping trips. I think I counted it up for my son, over 60 nights in the last few years that he camped. The boys, some of the trips that they did, West Virginia to the national campsite for the Boy Scouts. A group of us went last year to the Florida Keys. We've gone to Forestburg, New York for several summers, where the Monmouth Council has had a campsite since the late 1950s. And for each of the boys, the national requirement to make Eagle is a minimum of 21 merit badges, of which there's 13 required merit badges. So all the boys have at least 21 merit badges, and then of course the service project, and literally between the 9 of them, that there is over 1,000 hours of community service that they put in for the boys. And I think the boys want to give appreciation to their mothers, who have been a big help, and the mothers are all here tonight, who helped them to reach that goal. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, that's fantastic. Good stuff, Paul. Thanks. Yeah, the dedication's phenomenal. So we're going to call the guys up one at a time, and after we call you up, stay up here, because we're going to do a group shot later, then we'll have the rest of the Scoutmasters and everybody that helped out as well. So as you hand them to me, tell me what you have.
Oh, well, I was going to do it in your order.
Oh, okay. So let's have Jonah Bass. Jonah? All right, Jonah. So tell us about your lifeguard project. What'd you do?
So I fundraised and organized my project for the village of Lock Harbor, and I fundraised for the first aid kits and a new AED for the beach at Lock Harbor.
That's great. So did you do all that yourself? You have a little help with that?
I had some help with the boys sitting back there also.
That's good stuff. So what got you into scouting?
I joined with my friends, and I just thought it was a good way to have some fun and just be involved with the community and do some service. But I just came to love the service and the camping and all that came with the Boy Scouts.
Well, that's great. Well, you did a great thing here, Jonah. You stuck with it, which I mentioned before is very difficult, the commitment you have for that. And for that reason, we want to honor you with this proclamation acknowledging your Eagle Scout. So on behalf of the mayor and council, please accept this on our behalf. Congratulations. Good job. You just stand it up over here.
Congratulations.
Okay. Who do you have next?
This one.
Okay, we have Brian Bauer. Brian? So Brian did something with the garden at the Wayside Methodist Church, right, Brian?
Yes, sir.
So tell us about your project.
So the Wayside United Methodist Church is the oldest historical institution in Ocean Township. So I built a historical marking there and also a garden, so people can sit in the garden, take in their church's history, and read about their church's history on a sign.
That's great. And he wants to be future mayor. Grab that mic right out of my hand. Easy, pal. I got at least 2 years ago. Anyway, but that's great. So you did that by yourself, right?
No, with the help of all of them and other volunteers.
I know. It always is a group effort, though, with the projects. I mean, it's from concept to construction to completion. It's a lot involved, and a lot of times moms, dads, uncles, friends. You try to recruit whoever you can, really, to help finish the project, right? But the concept's yours, and I think that was fantastic, and I think it was a great thing that you did. So what got you into scouting?
It's kind of been a legacy in my family. My oldest brother down the chain been Eagle Scouts. So.
That's great. Awesome. Kind of like Corporal Acorn. Remember him? My whole family who died in the war. Remember? No, that was a long time ago. Anyway, well, that's fantastic, Brian. You did a great project over there. And on behalf of the mayor and council, again, we want to acknowledge your dedication and your service as an Eagle Scout. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we got Liam? Yep. Okay, Liam Dalella? I say Dalella, just like it sounds?
How'd you mess up the Italian name?
Okay, come on up, Liam. So you have something else, another garden project, right?
Yes.
Tell us about your project, Liam.
So I helped for an organization called Lettuce and Network. And it was in Lakewood, and it's the Lehman Center. And what I did was I made a garden, 18 by 22, and I put it right near the exit and the front portion of the facility, and just spruced up the area.
So folks know the Lattice Network over there, it's a handicapped school, and it's great. When anytime you can make an improvement and somebody just beholds some beauty, I think it's a great thing. Honorable, very nice. And you did that one by yourself as well, right?
I got a bunch of help.
That cheap labor. But it goes a long way, right?
Oh, yeah.
What got you into scouting?
Well, my older brothers and my dad introduced me to scouting, I'd say. So it's kind of like a family thing. But more than that, I'd say a bunch of kids from school were doing it. So I kind of just did it.
You wanted to be with the cool kids. Well, you did a great thing, and I think it's a great path that you chose. And so it's wonderful. So, again, we acknowledge your accomplishments and your dedication to scouting. On behalf of the mayor and council, please accept this proclamation acknowledging your feat. Fantastic. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay. All right. 10 more. No, a few more. All right. Ryan Dunlap. We have Ryan. Come on up, Ryan. So Ryan did something related to Superstorm Sandy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tell us about your project, Ryan.
So I worked with the Camp Meeting Association at Ocean Grove, and what we did was we ordered seagrass, and we planted the seagrass on what's called winter berms, which is to help stabilize the winter berms and turn it into a sand dune to help prevent storm surges from coming up and destroying the homes of people at Ocean Grove.
And that's great. It really does bind together and help for erosion and all that, right? That stuff's really strong. That was a great idea. Was that yours?
Yes and no. I just mostly. Yeah, I wanted to do something that was related to the beach since I worked there, and I've always had a strong relationship with the beach. So being able to not only help a community in need, but also being able to help something that I love was definitely the perfect project.
It was a great one. And what got you into scouting?
I've always had a love for camping, and I also just wanted to be able to be part of an organization that was so tight-knit when it came to community service and just good deeds in general.
You're a good person, and you chose another good one. So congratulations. And again, on behalf of Mayor and Council, we want to award you with this proclamation, acknowledging your dedication and your service to your scouting. Congratulations, Ryan. That's for you. Good job. Okay. John Paul Fernicolo. I think we saw this guy before. So, JP, do you go by JP?
Yeah.
I figured that, because John Paul's long. JP, tell us about your project.
My project
fixing the church, St. Andrew's by the Sea, after Hurricane Sandy.
Nice. Again, another noble one. See, Hurricane Sandy, out of that negative came a lot of positives. We had projects for you guys to do. And it's great that they all embraced it, though. I think that's wonderful. Are you a communicant there, or just wanted to help them out?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a commuted.
Yeah, that's a word I made up. You go there.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Awesome. So, you did your project. Did you have help with it? Dad help you a little bit?
Yeah.
Good. He needs to get outside and do something. Look at this guy. Other than play golf, tell him. Because he can't do that well.
You're a good golfer, Dad.
Oh, he loves you, Dad. Oh, I tried, JP. That's what made him an Eagle Scout, this kid. I got to tell you. JP, what got you into scouting?
A friend of mine took me on Bring a Friend night, and I enjoyed it so much.
Well, it was a great thing you did. That was a great project. We're proud of you for that. And it's really honorable, and the thing that you stuck with it, like I'm telling everybody, the commitment to this is really, it's not easy because it takes a lot of time. So congratulations on behalf of Mayor and Council. We want to present you with this proclamation for your achievements. Congratulations. We might start lining you guys up. JP, you want to come on this side? JP? John Paul, come on this side because we can even it off a little bit. Okay, Jacob Gus. We got Jacob. All right, Jacob. Congrats. So, let's tell us about your project, Jacob. Something pretty cool.
Yeah. So, my project was called The Vial of Life. So, basically, what I did is I fundraised money for and made 1,000 vials, which had medical information kits in them that people filled out. So, God forbid if something bad happens, like they have a heart attack in their home, and the first responders come and they can't speak of themselves, the medical information kit with all their information is on it, so that it could speak for them and stuff. Yeah.
That's very cool. That's really cool. How'd you come up with that idea?
I looked it up.
Dad's a doctor. Dad's a physician, so I figured. No, but I think that's really cool because you think about a lot of the projects are constructing and building, which is good. They all learn those skills, but something like that's very important, particularly when you get to my age or even Mr. Long's age. You'll need to have that information around your neck in case something, in the unlikely event something should happen. It's good to have, right?
Yeah, of course.
So, you thought of that one yourself, you said?
No.
I didn't think so. But it's really a cool project. Awesome. So that's great. And so, what got you into scouting?
Well, it's kind of been a family thing, like they said before. I would be the sixth person in my family to be Eagle Scout. A bunch of my cousins and uncles.
All went through. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, again, another commitment that you made, and it's fantastic that you did it. And how long did it take you?
I think 6.5 years for Boy Scouts, and there was like 4 or so years before that in Cub Scouts.
So it's pretty much a lot of their adolescent life and early on, right? Goes right on through. So on behalf of the mayor and council, we want to congratulate you on your dedication and your project, which is really interesting and very unique. I think it's fantastic. So congratulations again. Just stand next to JP when you're done. The stuff these guys think of, really cool. All right, Joshua Picklery. I get it right? Where are we? Okay, should I put my, oh, there it is. Oh, wait, now I got it. Pikelny. Pikelny. I saw the N look like an R without my glasses. You can understand.
I understand.
Okay. It's tough getting old, right? Don't say it.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right, so tell us about your project.
So I'm a member of Congregation Torah L. So I reached out to the rabbi, I asked if there was anything I could do.
Oh, he had plenty.
Of course. And so there's the annual Purim Carnival, and what that is it's just a big carnival on basically Jewish Halloween, and it's the biggest membership activity there. And he had me design and make 10 more games for the kids to play, and they all loved it. So it was really nice.
That's great. Another cool project, and it is pretty cool, right? It's Jewish Halloween, a good way to explain it, but right, a lot of fun. It's a carnival, and they're doing things. So it's something that you thought of yourself, besides the rabbi telling you what to do. Did you have help with it? How'd you do it?
I really just looked up online, like, different kinds of carnival games. The biggest hit was the Pinewood Derby. I had, like, older men come up to me saying, like, hey, I used to do this when I was a scout. So it was really nice. They would give me all their tales of when they were scouts.
Yeah, you brought back something from them, which was pretty cool, something they can remember. Well, that's great. Another great, interesting project and something local, which is cool. and something that helps us out. So fantastic. What got you into scouting?
I just followed a bunch of my friends here. Like all the guys here are my best friends, so it wasn't hard.
One thing scouting teaches you is individualism, and if you've seen, they all seem to make up their own minds here. So, but that's fantastic, though. And again, we acknowledge your service and your commitment. So, congratulations on behalf of the mayor and council. Accept our proclamation. Standard. Good job. Okay. I got this, Rich. Matthew Redboard. Right, Matt? I get it? Without my glasses, I did that. All right, Matt. Congratulations. All right, I'm going to let you tell us about your project, Matt. What'd you do?
So I work with the food bank of Monmouth and Ocean County, and I built a garden shed, which is basically a 10 by 16 foot like pavilion, like open faced, and it was basically for the food bank to have an area to wash the crops after they harvest them.
Great idea, right. They need to wash them after they harvest them, something to do, and you did all that. That's great. Who gave you the idea?
Well, I went over there. It was an organization I'm familiar with, and they gave me a few ideas for projects, and that was one I chose.
You tackled that one. That one you had to have help with, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you use a lot of lumber, I'm sure, too, making the garden and stuff?
Yeah, yep.
So who'd you get?
I'm sorry?
Who'd you get to help you?
Actually, Tom Inkwitz, who works at Builder General, he helped get a lot of the materials for me.
Tom's a great guy, too. We know him. Yeah, awesome. Fantastic. That's a great job. What got you into scouting?
It was just something I started when I was really young, like first grade, and I always stuck with it. My dad was a Life Scout, and he never made Eagle Scout, and I kind of just had it rubbed in his face.
Or we like to say, just like to show Dad that you were going to pick up where he left off or something like that. You had a good role model in Dad, though. He got you interested in scouting, which is the important part, don't you know? Some of us had to go to work when we were in 7th grade, right, Dad? You know, it happens. So anyway, fantastic, great story, and a good project. Again, it's a really good one. So on behalf of the mayor and council, we want to acknowledge your dedication to the scouting and accept our proclamation for your efforts. Fantastic. Okay, Joshua Rosner. What we got, Josh? Come on up, Joshy. All right, Josh. Good. So tell us about your project, Josh. What we got?
So ever since I was little, I'd always been an animal lover, and I always loved taking care of animals. So the first thing I did when I was able to do my project was I went to the Humane Society and I asked if they needed any help with anything, and they said that their cats had been acting up a little bit. Bless you. So their cats had been acting up a little bit, so they needed a way.
JP's allergic to cats.
So they needed a way for them to, you know, socialize and have fun and kind of get comfortable in a new environment, since they, you know, most of them had been neglected, abused, or abandoned. So what I decided to do was I built a structure of about 5 stories high, and it was kind of a place for them to play and have fun. And I also did 2 fundraisers along with this project. One was to raise the money for the materials to buy to build the structure, and the other one was you know, I went around my neighborhood and collected any, you know, food, supplies, blankets, anything that the animals needed, and I mean, it was a great turnout. Everyone really pitched in and helped.
That's great. And another thing, very nice, you know, humane thing to do for the animals. So it was a 5-story cat structure, I presume, right?
Yeah.
And something to introduce them back into to socialize with the other animals, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it worked out great. Like every couple of months we check back in for feedback, and you know, the cats are really warming up to it and they love it. So I'm really happy.
That's great. What a fantastic project. So again, thought of that yourself, or they gave you kind of a guideline?
I went to them and I asked them about it, and they kind of gave me the suggestion and I just ran with it.
That's fantastic. Do you have help doing it?
Yeah, my fellow scouts helped me out. A couple family members helped me out.
Well, that's great. And so, you know, the next question, right?
Yeah.
What got you into scouting?
I mean, it was never something that I wanted to do when I was a little kid, but I saw my friends doing it, and I kind of wanted to do it, you know, most of the other kids. And I mean, I ended up, you know, really liking it and sticking with it, and you know, I mean, it's been great.
Well, that's fantastic. Again, we want to recognize your service to scouting, your dedication, and so please accept this proclamation on behalf of the mayor and council. Fantastic, Josh. Again, folks, overachievers here, a bunch of them. Let's hear it for all these guys. I think it's really... We can have the Scoutmasters come up for a photo and then get all the guys lined up. Why don't you guys all line up together over here so the gentlemen... Guys, why don't you come over here, then Coaster can take a picture and we can get the Scoutmasters in there for us. And we can go on the other side also. You can probably get in front, right?
Yeah, Rob will get in the front.
He couldn't stand it anymore. Okay. All right, I think we got them all. Well, thank you guys again. Congratulations. Awesome. At this time, we're going to take a short recess, give everybody a chance to go home and get settled and whatever they like to do, or you're welcome to stay for the township business. We're going to go back into session. We're back here. So the purpose of the public portion is to solely ask questions, understand resolutions and vouchers that appear on the agenda, and is not an occasion for a public hearing on an ordinance. All questions not related to an item on the agenda should be asked during the public portion's comment conclusion of the meeting. So tonight, we have our consent agenda. Does anybody have anything as to the resolutions that appear on the agenda? Just the resolutions, not the ordinances?
Vouchers.
And not for, and vouchers, of course, too, yes. If you do have any questions or comment, come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Don Geiger, 1108 Grassmere Avenue. Actually, I'm curious about one thing on the resolution. It's not about the resolution per se, but in two of them it mentions an interim manager. I thought you're like permanent.
The projects were started when Greg Fahrenbeck was here.
Aha, okay.
Look at
That answers that. Now, moving right along to the bills list. Number 11, earmark direct. Backpacks for children. Which children? How many? How come?
So
Number 11.
probably through our Project Extend and or Recreation. I don't know how many. I'll get that number for you.
Okay.
Find out.
Okay. And then my guess is they're both for our human services. There's 12 and 13, temporary handicap ramp rental, and then ramp with handrails, human services. Unless I'm mistaken, why did we get a temporary one if we got a permanent one?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
The one that was there had to be replaced.
Okay.
And they had to provide access, so they
Right.
had to put a temporary one there until the new one could be built.
Okay, which cost about,
Where were we at?
well, one was 40, the temporary was 40, almost $4,700,
Yeah.
and the permanent one's 900. I don't
think
know.
it might be opposite. It should have been reversed.
That makes more sense. Yeah. And then moving right along, number 15, ANJR Recycling Symposium and Luncheon. Do you know how many people went?
I believe it was one person.
One person. They ate a lot though.
Yeah.
Or it was very rich food. Okay. And right underneath that, number 16, Armstrong Tree Service. Hazardous tree, gives a street address, $800. Is that billed to the homeowner? Is it on private
Right,
property?
if it's in the right of way, it's ours.
Aha. Okay. So we're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
For the safety, it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, safety's important. And then number 23, the F-250. Who got that? Do you know?
Public Works.
Public Works. Okay. And moving right on, still on page 1.
There's 88 pages, by the way, folks.
Yeah, I know. Hey, look. I hope people brought their sleeping bags with them.
The Boy Scouts left them.
Anyway, County of Monmouth transplant tree for $361.71.
What number are you?
That
52?
is number 52. We paid the County of Monmouth to transplant a tree, or
Yes.
onto whom?
I can get you the.
No, I'm kidding around. Yeah, we transplant a lung and kidney, and never mind. And then number 54, Crown Products. Police Department work shirts. They work all the time. Do you know how many and who got them?
I can find out exactly for you.
Okay. You have my email.
Yep.
Yep. Now, page number 2. Wait, no, let me look in the back. Sorry. I forgot. By the way, good cost savings there, both sides of the page. I like this one. Number 60. Dude Solutions, Inc. Utility Track Plus annual subscription. What is that? My guess is it tracks utility use?
It's software that Public Works uses, yes.
Okay. All right. Since this is annual, that's not bad. 64. FBI, which my surmise is that's Federal Bureau of Investigation. Police Department training, that's probably the police officer. $1,300. Was that on-site, off-site?
Off-site, I believe it was the chief and the captains.
Okay, and that's just for the training itself? Okay, not transportation, meals, lodging, whatever. Okay. And then number 77, Global Industrial. Police Department chair replacements for a little bit over $1,900. Do you know how many chairs?
I'll find out for you. I don't know.
Okay.
Now.
Because it depends on how much that works out per chair, because I know I've seen some really nice chairs.
But were they sturdy? Were they worthy of a police department, Don?
Yes.
They were? How do you know?
At BJ's. Because I tried them out. They had some out.
But they have standards.
Who does?
The state and the police department have standards.
Yeah, right. Okay,
All right.
whatever.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Number 85. There's a ID card printer for $6,112.65. Do you know who that's for?
That's township wide. We use that to print identification cards
For all
the
employees?
employees and
Okay.
everything.
Thank you. And then number 91, Jersey Shore Junior Wrestling League. Wrestling League dues. Is that for rec department then? Okay. And then numbers 110, 111. Is it just because he got 2 sets of body armor?
Correct.
Okay. Instead of having it shown once, he just divided it up. Okay. And then 114, all the way to the bottom of that page, laws, environmental services, removal of contaminated soil.
That might have been at the rec center.
Yeah.
On West Park Avenue.
Okay.
Back there, they changed the oil to gas for the pool club.
Aha.
And they had a little leaker.
A little leaker, as opposed to a big leaker.
I've been in there 50 years.
None will do it. Okay, thank you. And then number 141, it says fourth quarter 2017 MC Monmouth County Regional Service fees. Exactly what do they charge us for, or what does it include?
That's what we pay to the Health Commission for covering the town for all inspections, for of restaurants, of
okay.
Yeah, everything.
Restaurants.
Yeah.
7-Eleven, since they have food, even though it's
We
mostly
collect the license and fees from them, and then comes back. It's kind of a pass through, if you will.
And then there's actually 2 items, 151, 152, for New Jersey Association's Chiefs of Police. One's frontline supervision for $500, and then the other is a staff ride for LE leaders. A little bit, was that for more than one person? A little bit, more info.
Chiefs and the captains.
On both of them?
The chief and the captains, yeah.
Chief and the captain. Okay. And then 164 Pilot Electric Company pool pump. Did we repair it or replace it?
Had to be rebuilt.
Rebuilt, which is, that's repair it. Like, I'm sure it'd be a lot more if we had to replace it. And Seacoast Chevy, supply and install new engine for number 63. Is that a public works vehicle, I'm guessing?
I'm sorry, what number?
I'm sorry.
180.
180. Vehicle number 63. Slash.
Yeah. Yeah, it was either, yes, it was a public works truck, I believe.
Truck engines
Yeah.
are not cheap. Okay. And then 183 to SHI International Corp. I'm guessing by one, just to make sure I'm right, it has new vehicle e-ticketing for a little bit over $2,000. That's you see a violation, you read the plate, and they're sending an e-ticket
Right,
instead
the
of
machine they have.
the officer getting out, possibly risking his life because we never know what's going to happen, and they get the ticket by email.
Yeah, it's just,
somehow.
it's an electronic ticketing program. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then moving right down, 193 SRRS LLC. It's Arch Angle Control System for a little bit over $800. Can you tell me a little bit more about
I
that?
believe it's a software system for one. I'm not 100% sure on that. I can find out.
Okay. And so, am I correct on 197? It was the same situation. Oak tree on 216 Oberon Boulevard for $472.44 was somehow hazardous, damaged, diseased.
Probably in the same, right, probably a replacement of a tree when they did a streetscape, yeah, shade tree.
Okay. And, gee, almost done. And then we got number, let me make sure I didn't miss anything.
You didn't.
No,
Number 258.
Well, no, no. How about 232?
How about it?
P.E. Ralph and Sons trauma kits. Do you know how many we got and what they put in them?
No, I don't know the exact amount, but they're for the police cars. I'll find out.
Okay. And would you believe that's all to the last?
I would.
No.
There you go.
Great, thank you, Don. Anybody else wishing to be heard on resolutions that appear on the agenda, come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Seeing or hearing no one, someone please offer is there somebody? No?
No.
The meetings for September 14th and resolution 17209.
I will offer that.
Hold on.
Oh, we have I'm sorry, in 17.
On 17-210, there's a change to that resolution.
Oh.
It currently says we're canceling the October 26th meeting. We're going to replace the October 26th meeting with October 24th.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so there has been a change.
That's why we have such a great clerk. I'll have to do it after. We're past it. So, we got resolution 17209, plus the workshop minutes from September 14th through, that's it, 17215. Someone please offer.
I will offer resolutions 17-209 through 17-215, as well as the workshop closed minutes.
Great.
And I'll second it.
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitano.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Yes. For tonight, we have vouchers in the amount of $7,291,184.18. Someone please offer.
I will offer that.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitani.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, and tonight we have resolutions for action 17216. Authorize the acceptance of the following grants. It pays to plug in NJ's electrical vehicle workplace charging grant. So part of redoing our new parking lot out here, we applied for a grant to put electric charging stations in, and lo and behold, we got a $10,000 grant to do the same. Net cost zero. Someone please offer.
I offer resolution 17-216.
Second.
I'll second it.
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitani.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mayor Luciano.
Yes, 17217, approve the following change to 159 budget amendment, New Jersey electrical vehicle workplace charging. So that's so we can accept that money and put it back into the budget. Someone please offer.
I move to offer resolution 17-217.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitani.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mayor Luciano.
Yeah, so 17218 are change orders for our road construction. Had nothing to do with money, had to do with actual work itself, whether they put 2 inches in some areas, 6 inches in others. It all worked out to the same price. They just wanted to keep that noted. So approve the following change orders for contracts awarded to Fernandez Construction, Inc., none of which increased the total contract amounts. A, 214 Roadway Improvement Program, B, 215 Roadway Improvement, and C, 2016 Roadway Improvement Program. Someone please offer.
I offer resolution 17-218.
Second.
I'll second it.
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitani.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mayor Luciano.
Yes, 17219, authorize the tax collector to issue refunds or credits to those taxpayers who have received favorable state tax appeal judgments. Someone please offer.
I offer resolution 17-219.
Second.
I'll second it.
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitani.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mayor Luciano.
Yes, 17220, authorize a contract with Fernandez Construction, Inc. for the 2017 roadway improvement program at a cost not to exceed $2,089. Someone please offer.
I offer resolution 17-220.
Second.
And I'll second it.
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitani.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mayor Luciano.
Yes, 17221, authorize a tax collector to place a lien on the following properties to abate public health nuisance. Block 2507, Lot 16, in the amount of $175, and Block 2533, Lot 7, in the amount of $85.75. Someone please offer.
I offer resolution 17-221.
Someone second.
I'll second it.
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitani.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mayor Luciano.
Yes, and tonight we have adoption ordinance number 2301. Ben, would you read the title, please?
Sure. A bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements, appropriating $2,127,640, and authorizing the issuance of $2,021,258 bonds or notes to finance a portion of the cost.
Okay, someone please open the public hearing on ordinance 2301.
I move that we open to the public on ordinance number 2301.
Second.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitani.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mayor Luciano.
Yes, anybody wishing to be heard on ordinance number 2301, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Seeing or hearing no one. It's a capital improvement ordinance, bond ordinance for our, it should be all listed there. Hang on. Capital improvements
It's for the tennis courts.
for, all the work that we're doing. Annually, we do about the same amount every year. It's all included in your taxes, and it's for various improvements. So this year it was for various road improvements, infrared patching on Hope Road, infrared improvements on West Park tennis courts, doing the new ones there, drainage improvements, line striping for bike lanes, purchase of real property for municipal purposes. We're buying a building on Wickapeco. Again, a lot of this money we're getting back through, we have a developer's agreement, it's going to come back through and then pay off the bonds. So we put out the money, then we get paid back, then we do a Chapter 159 and put it back in. So basically, that's what a lot of this is for. Annually, we budget $2 million for our road and capital improvements. It's in your budget. Without the municipal budget going up, we account for that every year. So, and that's what it accounts for. So all these improvements that are listed. Okay. Anybody else wishing to be heard before we close the public hearing? Someone move to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2301.
I move to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2301.
Second.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitani.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mayor Luciano.
Yes. Action please on ordinance 2301.
Move for the adoption on ordinance number 2301.
Second.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitani.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Yes. Before we open up the meeting to the public, I just want to go down and see if we have any council reports. John, you have anything for us?
Yeah, first off, we have the newsletter coming out for fall and winter. Right now, it'll be in your in your mailboxes, mailed out the week of October 16th, which is next week. Also, we have the Mayor's Ball coming up on October 28th. Final days to purchase tickets, purchase ads, sponsorships. If you need information, you can go online. It's tinyurl.com/OT Mayor's Ball 2017. It's going to be a great event. We're looking to actually pack the house. I believe we have over 200 tickets sold so far, so it is selling out quick.
Right, and it's for two charities.
It's two charitable
Not for me.
organizations in Ocean Township, the Community Hope Fund and the Mylan Terry Foundation. Community Hope Fund does a lot of good things for residents within the Township of Ocean, and the Mylan Terry Foundation is for pediatric cancer. So these are two really good foundations that the mayor has chosen to give that money to. One of them is very near and dear to my heart, and really looking forward to raising a lot of money for those two foundations.
Great, thank you, John. Donna, you have anything for us tonight?
Yes, I have a couple things of events that are coming up shortly. The first one is Clean Sweep on Sunday, October 15th. It's going to be held over at the Oakhurst Fireman's Field meeting room. We meet there. You get your areas to clean, and we start at 11 o'clock. We go for the final pickup by 1 o'clock. We have a lot of different areas in town that need cleanup, and we look for people to come out and help do that. That's on Sunday again, October 15th, for our fall clean sweep. Rain date will be the 22nd. Also on Sunday, the Ocean Township Historical Museum will host their flea market. It was canceled last week because of rain, so they're holding it this Sunday from 10 to 4. We also have on Saturday, October 21st, Going Green, creating a green home and a greener community, managing water for all your needs. This is done by the Ocean Township Shade Tree Commission and the Environmental Commission. This again is Saturday, October 21st from 11 to 3 at the library. Then we have the shredding event also on Saturday, October 21st, over at Dow Avenue at the elementary school. It is from 9 to 1, I believe. Yeah, 9 to 1 on Saturday the 21st. You can take your stuff you want shredded, and they'll shred it right then and there for you. We also are looking for volunteer donations for non-perishable food for our Community of Hope for the Thanksgiving food drive. That can be dropped off either here at Town Hall or also at Human Services at 601 Deal Road. And we would like to have canned fruits, vegetables, stuffing, soups, gravy, stuff like that. And we need it by November 3rd so that we can get together and make baskets and get this stuff out to the families that are in need of it in Ocean Township. And the last one I have coming up is our senior citizen over 90 luncheon. That will be held Thursday, November 2nd, and that will be at the Renaissance Room, and it's going to be at 11:30. And I told a fib, we have one more event coming up on November 11th, Saturday, Veterans Day. We'll have a Veterans Day ceremony out here in front of Town Hall, and I believe that's going to be at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. I'm not sure exactly if it's 10 or 11, but it will be in that time frame.
Great, thank you, Donna. Rich?
Yes, Mayor, I have something. As Donna pointed out, the Community Hope Fund, which is a registered nonprofit, will begin the Thanksgiving food drive, and Donna referenced some of the items that we're looking for, non-perishable items. We also accept monetary gifts in check form if they're made payable to Community Hope Fund. These checks and or the food donations can be brought to Human Services Office on Deal Road, Please have these checks or food donations to Human Services by no later than Friday, November the 10th. Also, the Community Hope Fund is sponsoring a silent art auction on Sunday, February the 18th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Turner Gallery, which is part of the Ocean Township Library on Deal Road. This event is being called Community Hope Fund's Art for Hope Auction. Finally, as was previously mentioned by John, the Community Hope Fund members have been hard at work to make the upcoming Mayor's Ball on October 28th a rousing success. It was a great event last year. I'm sure it'll be a great event this year, and that, Mayor, is my report for this evening.
Good stuff, Rich. Thank you. Rob, you have anything for us?
One quick one. We had the second annual tree trimming. Was it second annual, I think? Tree trimming last weekend, 2 weekends ago over at Deal Test Site, Joe Playa Park, excuse me. Shout out to DPW. There was about 6 or 8 of the gentlemen there helping us out, and there was about a dozen volunteers that showed up for the better part of the morning. Did a lot of good tree trimming, and it was a nice event.
Real good. Thank you. Mr. Michillo, anything?
I have no report.
And sitting in for Marty Arbus, who is still recovering from the Yankee win, is Mr. Matt Good. Matt, anything for us? We'll be using you shortly. At this time, if anybody has anything germane to the township, anything you have to share with us, please come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. It's important to get you on the record and not to shout out from there because it's picked up here on the clerk's tape and microphone device. Plus, we televise the meetings. Anything at all? We'll take compliments if you have them. Mr. Geiger, please. You still have a minute left on your 2 minutes.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Humbling.
I know. You're so good.
I don't time you.
First of all, I want to thank Councilman Long for reminding me to compliment the improvement to the entrance exit to both Wegmans and Staples and that whole area.
That's
with the
right.
repaving.
Good.
It's much better.
Yeah.
It is a
And
lot
thank you
better.
for that reminder.
Yep.
I
It's a lot
appreciate
better.
that. Question, more of a question than a comment, because I have no clue what they're going to do. But I was looking at the area where this enclave is going to be created. Do you know at this point whether they're going to just clear cut and then replant, or try and save as many trees as possible?
Both.
Okay, that works. And once again, I'm going to still revisit. I'm going to be the squeaking wheel. I'll warn you on BJ's and the jug handle, particularly coming in off of West Park. And the manhole, or if you want to be politically correct, the person hole still needs work.
Yes.
Now, they've done some work, which is nice, but can they get with the program?
We're trying to rush them. The state, of course, I told you it's their jurisdiction. They're doing it. They have a big road improvement program for Highway 35 for 2018. That will be part of it. When they get out there, Don, you know, they keep coming up with certain obstacles. Not their fault, but things come up, and that's probably the delay.
Okay, because pretty soon we're going to end when we actually get some snow, and
I have
it
another
won't be
meeting,
practical.
I think the 17th of November with DOT, and I'll be out in Trenton, and
Okay.
if it still hasn't been done, I'll follow up on it.
Okay, I appreciate that very much. And last but not least, I want to give since you mentioned Public Works, a shout out to Nancy and Mary, and offer my condolences to Nancy. She lost her mom the other
Yes,
day.
2 losses in a
And,
month.
Yeah.
Devastating, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to offer my condolences to her.
Thank you.
And just hope that she weathers this storm.
Yep, thank you, Don. Very nice.
That's all, folks.
And you ended it with that? You said something very nice. Just kidding. Very nice. Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening, Jackie.
Jackie Wenzel, 610 Deal Road. Anyway, I was just wanted to ask you to kind of kick off this part of the meeting, if you could update us on where the development process is and approval process for the plans on the corner of Deal Road and Ocean, Deal Road and 35. And also, we've been getting together a little, off schedule from these meetings with some of the community. And I have a list of different concerns. So I'm not going to go into any depth in any of them because some of the people may get up and speak on it, but I just thought perhaps you could just update us first, and then we can ask questions.
Sure. So
Okay.
the update is, at this point, the mayor and council have gone pretty much as far as we can with it. Anything else, any concerns about it, any other questions, anything like that. If and when it goes to a planning board meeting, that'll be the next step for the public. In our jurisdiction, the purview of the mayor and council, all we can do when a developer comes in, we just can't deny anybody the right to develop property. They're allowed to bring an application to the planning board. It's the law. It's America. It's how we operate here. But the best we can do is what we've done so far over the past few years is to try to, when somebody comes in with an application or a plan, I should have brought some of the iterations for you that I've shown you before, but they started out as a very high density project with many, many apartments and other things, and our job is to try to shrink it down, and we've done that. We've got it shrunk down as much as we possibly can. The next step really would be at the planning board. At that point, you can address all the concerns that relate to traffic, engineering, shrubbery, noise, anything you could think of, environmental, all that will be addressed here. There's not much more we can do here at this time. Excuse me, they haven't brought an application in yet. When they do, we'll make it public. Folks will know about it. And typically how they work, just so you know, it's a process. It's kind of like a hearing. So they'll present their case, one item at a time. They'll present engineering, they'll present architectural, they'll present all these different aspects of their case. And in between, you're allowed to ask questions as to each portion. You can't go right to the end and say, why are you building that? That's not germane to what they're doing. You really have to kind of follow the rules there. But everybody will have a chance to speak. And then at the end of the presentation, when they're done presenting their entire application, one by one, as many as we have, as many as who care to come up and make a comment, then you're welcome to come up to the microphone and make a statement, comment, questions, anything like that. So there's a process. It's not just going to go to the planning board and be approved and see you later. That's not going to happen. They got a long way to go yet. The only action the township's going to take, and I'll say this, the property itself went through several zone changes from 1999, 2001, and then again 2004. So the history was there was a Stop and Shop application there back in 2004 that came in, was unpopular. And they moved the historical building for us and all these things. And then in the middle of it, we changed the zoning on them to what they were going to have, which was changed from something else before that. And by way of us changing it, we kind of changed it so much that they couldn't build a supermarket like they wanted to build. That triggered a lawsuit. We're involved in litigation now. I can't talk much more about the litigation, but it's been ongoing for 12 years. And it won't go away until something happens with the property there, whether it's developed or sold or whatever. So that's a whole nother story. But the next thing, our planner is just putting together back the old zoning that's congruent with the rest of the highway for the next 17 miles right up to Keyport, where the front portion is going to be commercial and the back's residential. Pretty cut and dry. And so that's the next action we'll be taking, is probably doing a zone change. So it's back to that. By doing that, I think we can stand up to any litigation that comes to us from any developer or even current owner saying that we diminished their property or devalued it by way of zoning. It's not our intent. Really we try to control density. It's really what we're trying to do, and have smart growth rather than just any kind of haphazard growth. We can't tell somebody how to spend their money, what to build there, as long as it conforms with what's in the ordinance. So like I said, the next step to us, probably in the next month or so, will be a rezoning back to commercial on the front, residential on the back. That's really it. Anybody else?
Well, I believe when I moved here 20 years ago, Deal Road from Logan to 35 North was just low commercial usage and residential. Like there could be a little market perhaps, but not anything to the degree of what's being presented today in the plan.
No, if it's on a highway, it's our Highway C zoning, just like what's on the opposing corners, as far as like you see the bank across the street, Middlebrook Shopping Center, they're all border the highway. They would all have the same zoning. From here to Middletown to Keyport, they would all pretty much have the same thing.
I was told from the first time that we tried to stop the Stop and Shop from being such a large commercial development in our neighborhood, because it's, also, of course, west of 35 is residential as well, beyond that commercial property, but
Yeah, they all have a depth pattern to them.
East was always, I was told, residential, and I was told when we bought the house across the street would never be developed because of wetlands, and it was, even though we were of course on a busy road with it being Deal Road, that there would be no commercial development. So I think that's why it's always so jarring for me when these things come up again, because it's not what we had intended in terms of where we were choosing to live.
I'm sure.
So I guess because zoning has changed over the years at different times, I would like you to consider, and there are other people that have the same sentiment, to perhaps go back to a zoning where it's just light commercial on Deal Road, even right up to the traffic light crossing the street, that it's light commercial, and that it's just residential as it is across the street in Mercer Court. So it has that more residential feel for the value of our homes and
Jackie,
for the quality of life.
The zoning that we're going to put in here will probably have a limited size, like you can't have a big box or anything like that, so it won't be heavy commercial. I think what I saw the planner working on was less than 30,000 square foot, any building, things like that, which is lighter than the Food Town, which is about 70,000. So it's going to be modified from that as much as we can, again, without, you can't zone somebody out of their property, of using it for what is pretty much along the highway everywhere else. You almost can't do that. It's kind of what they call spot zoning. It's illegal.
No, I guess it's just that it had changed over a different period. So we were wondering, could it be adjusted again to what fits in with the community now? Because there is so much development around, and there is that very precious corner there that's so beautiful and has been preserved for all these years. And even though we can't buy it at this point with Green Acres funding, unless, I don't know, I know we have this referendum on the ballot in November to have more, open space. But you seem to have mentioned at previous meetings you wouldn't necessarily consider using it on that space.
We can't, I can tell you this, we can't identify a property for open space tax. That would be illegal. Also, after the referendum's approved, and if there's property available at that time, I'll say that to you, we can pursue any property.
Because maybe they could even, buy a portion of it, and we could buy a portion of it, even if it's just because, what's so wonderful when we're in the park and when we're at the library and at the tower, it's very blanketed by all those 32 acres of green. It feels nice there because it's very quiet and it's just very serene. And I don't think they'll be there if it becomes a parking lot right behind them.
As long as there's roadkill, there'll be turkey buzzards.
They are there because
job.
they're up in my neighborhood all the time and in my yard.
I'll say this, Jackie, though. Let me just roll back a little bit the history, and I think Mrs. Hudson's heard me say it before. 1999, before 1999, again, the zoning was commercial, although there was a residential home on it, it still was zoned commercial. That's back from the 50s, 60s when
But light
35.
commercial.
No, again, Middlebrook has a 60,000 square foot or 70,000 square foot shopping center, so that would be both sides of the highway. That's how they zone. They don't zone this side's this. Anyway, at the end there, 1999, there was 72 acres. And then Mayor Weldon was the one who pursued buying the 42, where the Human Services is now, where the library is now. So we did pretty good, appending that to the 208 that we had, so we now rounded us up to 250. Could we have gotten it all? Would have been great. He couldn't get it all. That was the goal. It didn't happen. Did pretty good. We got 250 out of all that, and which is preserved, and you see that park is used all the time. So it's really fantastic. So, the rest is, developer has it. What happens to that, like I said, we've done what we could so far for now.
The
We put
developer, he doesn't own the land yet, so at this point.
No, I got to correct you. The prospective developer doesn't own the land.
Right.
Another company owns, and they are developers as well.
Right, okay.
So developer owns the land.
Okay, gotcha. So, okay. So anyway, that's one of my main concerns. Also, I told some of the
Again, a lot of
residents I
that can
couldn't make
be,
it.
that's going to be at the planning board.
I know, I just worry that by the time we get to the planning board, there might be a rush to the end. And I would just I feel like if we came together with something that worked for the community, we could say to the new developer, this would work better for the community, and you want the community to become patrons of the businesses that you have there.
You still have that opportunity if it gets to a planning board. Again, we can only do what we're allowed by statute, by law, what's legal, the town.
Mhm.
We just can't say, you know what, we've got a better idea. We're going to zone this to be this. We've done that once, and we're in a lawsuit over it.
Mhm. I understand. Well, the other concern is the environment and pollutants to the obviously Poplar Brook. We've spoken about that before. And it came up that perhaps during construction, you have said that the gas tanks at Wawa are protected, and, you feel like it's more state-of-the-art than other disasters that have happened in the past, and we shouldn't have such an incident. However, any incident that ever happened, the belief was that they were also,
Of course.
never going to have any type of leakage.
Titanic was never going to sink.
Right, exactly. So, but some of the concern is that during the construction, there's a lot of toxic chemicals and debris and all sorts of things that are going to be disturbed and perhaps get into Poplar Brook, which will go into the ocean. And who would be responsible for that?
So how that happens is, just so you understand, as you know, when you go to a planning board, we have the township on our side, engineers, planners, attorneys, et cetera, watching out for that. When a site's approved for construction, they pull permits. We have a construction department that goes down there on visits for every aspect. Well, okay, we're digging the footings. Okay, they go down there, they inspect, take a look. Freehold soils involved as well. The conservations, they all come out and take a look at what they're doing as they're doing it. So in the unlikely event, something that you're talking about should prevail, that there's something there, contaminants, they have their silt screens, their shields, they have all that in process. They would stop a job and say, wait a minute, we see something that's suspect, let's investigate this further. They'll do some testing. If it's okay, they'll tell them to proceed. If not, they'll stop it until they can get it cleaned up. So they take every measure they can. They're not going to be at the meeting, but they need to get DEP approval for anything near a lake stream or a body of water, a brook, things like that. And they're very, very vigilant, and it's an arduous task to get anything by them. That's why I say these companies that build gas stations, again, anything could happen, but they double line their tanks, they have sensors in them with an alarm, and then they have a cistern at the bottom of that. They have all these. Could anything still leach into the? Absolutely. Like we said, Titanic wasn't going to sink, but it did. But we have all these safety nets in place for us with other agencies, state agencies as well, that are involved. So.
Okay. Has any of that happened yet? Has the DEP come and looked at the land and the plans yet?
What will happen is the prospective owner probably has done his environmental, what they call impact studies, and his due diligence, so where he probably had a sweep, he's probably had soil borings, he's probably done all those things. So to check for contaminants, because he's not going to buy it if it's a contaminated property. But as the project goes, once they start breaking ground, that's when the construction officials really get involved, and pretty much they're watching them.
So they don't have to look ahead of time to say that there's so much blacktop that creates pressure, because another thing.
No, that's before they even bring that to the planning board. The engineers review their sets of plans, if you will. They have what they call TRC, Technical Review Conference, and they'll go over that. So let me see your plans. Okay, you have 27% impervious. You have this, you have that. Here's the rate of runoff. Here's where it was going to go. Let's make sure it go. They do all their calculations and make sure it's not going to impact. The rule of the ordinance is that if you're building something, it has to lessen the condition that's going to be there that exists today, instead of worsen it. They can't exacerbate what's already there. So we rely on engineers for their intelligence and their calculations.
Well, a neighbor brought up a good point I hadn't thought of. She said, well, where will all the water go when it rains? Because we are in a wetlands area. There's no doubt about that. And there's been flooding in Ocean Township. All the water that the trees take. I mean, the trees drink a lot of water. All that rain, where does all that water go? There's no tree.
So that's part of their calculations, where to put them. They do, every plan I saw had, these retention and detention ponds built on site to kind of slow up the water when it releases. And then they also are going to demand them to tie into the storm water and make sure that they have, devices there as well that's going to control the release of the water, so we don't have flooding.
Okay. And we have an
In theory.
environmental protection. You have meetings here for that
We have
as
an
well?
environmental commission, that's where I
Commission.
got my start, was
Okay.
on that.
Okay. So, and they meet they're on the calendar as well. We could
They
perhaps
have
meet with
meetings,
them
and they
before
also,
and
yeah,
ask
they.
questions.
Yes, yeah, you can go to them and make suggestions, questions, and they make a report to the planning board and zoning board on all projects.
Mhm.
So they'll get the plans, and they'll be able to make their comments and/or suggestions to them.
Okay. All right.
Good
I
job.
don't know if anybody else wants to come.
Thank you very much.
I'm a little confused.
Okay.
Because,
Name and address.
what you
Name and
said-
address again.
I'm Barbara Hudson. What you said was that we couldn't buy this property now. We can't interfere, right? You couldn't condemn it or whatever.
Mhm.
Because this group is involved in it, right? I mean, the people are planning, doing tests or whatever. In other words, but if we got the referendum
Mhm.
and we had all that money, and you could decide, not that you would, but you could decide at that time to still buy the property, so that's November, right?
Well, no, what will happen is,
I just want to caution you
Right.
about talking about possible acquisitions of property, just even under the hypotheticals. If one, we're in a lawsuit. Two,
oh, turn your mic up
Well,
there, Matt.
well, let's pretend
Okay.
that we're not
We
talking
can't,
about
we can't
anybody
pretend.
specifically.
We're,
That's
we're-
how you go to
we're
jail.
taped. So, taking advice from our attorney.
Yeah, well, look at us, we don't understand, all right?
Okay.
Where these builders are, because they have a contract to buy this land, right? I mean, they can buy it.
Mhm.
You can't stop that, they already have that?
I can't stop anybody
I
from
mean,
buying
no,
property,
but I
no.
mean, that's the deal between Stop and Shop and.
Yeah,
them,
that's
right?
private.
And there's somewhere in that process of having environmental tests and things like that.
Right.
Right. And no matter if it's them or anybody else, can you interfere in that process, or do they have a railroad to go right through to fulfill that contract and work out?
That's between the buyer and the seller.
Right,
We don't have anything to do with that.
So if they complete that process and they want to buy that and develop it, then they're going to come to the planning board.
Yes.
Okay. So, but if we did the referendum, this is what confused me, because then you said you couldn't be for, but you could go in there and perhaps condemn it and buy it at that time.
No.
Mr. Mayor, I would
Yes, okay.
not answer that question.
This is why we don't understand anything,
Okay.
all right? I mean, we're the public and we cannot really get a handle on anything.
I'm just
I know it's
saying
not your fault, I'm
with regard to the council specifically picking out properties, even using hypotheticals, it puts I don't know what the word is, but it taints, I guess, that property for any buyers or sellers. It's essentially.
Well,
having
can
the
you say
council
that if he's in this process and doing the land surveys and so on, that he's just can move right forward to the plan? Oh,
Somebody can buy a property.
he can buy the property,
And they
right?
can
It's
buy
not
the property.
necessarily get approved by the planning board.
It may or may not, but if somebody wants to buy property and not develop.
So
it,
we'd
they
have
can
to
do
buy the
same
property
thing.
from him. I mean, if he decided to buy the property, go through with it, and he owns the property, and then if you wanted to, if a township wanted then to negotiate, all right, they would then have to do whoever owns that property.
If any municipality wants to purchase any property in the state of New Jersey, yes, they have to
Go to the owner.
or condemn.
Well, that just came up out of that. But now, the other thing I wanted to ask you. right,
Yes.
When are they, because you said they were going to come in October, sometime in October.
For the-
To the planning board.
I don't know when, I mean.
don't know when?
Whenever their application, they feel it's complete enough. I don't know if they're having I don't know that much about it. I mean, there's negotiations probably going on between them and their builders, engineers, and architects. I don't know. Once they have a complete application, they'll bring it to the planning board.
And you don't know where.
I don't know. I suspect they're probably within a few months. I keep saying that to you, but we'll know. We'll have plenty of,
Could be
you know.
months.
It could be. It could be probably, my guess is probably at this point after the first of the year. But you'll have, we'll make sure folks know about it. You'll be well aware of it.
Well, I was expecting it next week. I mean, you said October.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen. A lot of notices have to go out and there's a lot more involved.
I'll be back.
Okay. Great. Anybody else? Anything germane to the township? Anything? Come on up.
Ladies first.
Yeah. We may go back to that topic, but we can, anything you want. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Hello, Ellen Shapiro, 43 Gimbel. Many years ago, I had been on a committee, I think Mary Ann was on it, Walensky, Dave Cockle at that time. We were very concerned about bike paths, walking paths in the town. Sort of got started, fell apart. Well, with this whole development at Deal Road and 35, and I'm thinking, I know we always have a problem because it's township and county and freeholders and state and merging of so many different things. What can we do to improve bicycle and walking paths from the west side of 35? And you want to comfortably go to the library.
Right.
You want to go to Turner. You want to go to Deal Road. Is there any way that some of the things in North Jersey, they have the walkovers? Is there anything that can
So
be done?
funny you bring that up. We were,
Okay.
I don't know if Rob, if you were with me at the last Trenton meeting, we go to DOT several times a year, bring different council members. So myself and Mr. Chara were there. And we talked about the challenge of connecting the two sides, because when I was younger, you could just ride your bike up to across the highway. It was nothing to it. Now
My kids rode to the beach.
now
I
you
wasn't
can't.
worried. Right.
Part of one of the, by the way, our capital improvement projects to continue our bike path here, go down Monmouth Road and come around Corlees. You know, we're trying to make a nice circuit on this side anyway, where it's safe. At any rate, bringing that up to them, it's funny because they have a room of engineers there, and each one has a different function. One's an engineer for building bridges, one's for overpaths, one's for pedestrian crosswalk. Talking about layers of government. This is all in a DOT meeting. Were you there?
20 some odd people. Yeah.
You went with us too, so it's very fascinating, but everything you said, we brought up, myself and Rob said, well, what if we do this? And they had a specific person, well, you'd have to fill out a form, blah, 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 and request this and send engineering. 10-year project on almost every one of those plans, but our goal eventually is to try to connect the west side to the east side. No, not Joe, that's our county engineer, but Gretchen and live up on Bound Road. His name's escaping me. He had a nice plan to interconnect the whole town, but that's part of what we're using, that plan too. We do have a big, Mr. Kreckman, thank you, Al Kreckman, very smart guy. We did get approved, Mr. Masillo did get a grant for us. I thank him for that. First thing he did was great for the west side, and it's a big promenade walkway, if you will, connecting West Park to Deal Road. So at least we have now something there, so you don't see these people walking along from bus stop to bus stop or shopping center to shopping center. So it's a start, but getting the rest of it connected, we're working on it. We're aware of it like you are, and we're trying to get it through DOT. That's really the challenge.
And
Can I just comment real quick? Keep me honest. Part of the paving of Highway 35 is going to make that crosswalk at Deal and 35 more accessible to pedestrians.
Yeah,
and
they're doing a pedestrian portion only on the ground. Nothing, no overpass. In fact, their overpass, we didn't meet their overpass requirement, I believe, is what they had said, to go from bus stop to bus stop.
What I'm looking at is if I come from my house, and you've been there, you know where it is, I walk on this side, then I have to walk to this side, then I go back to this side, and you try to say, I don't want to use a car, it's good weather, I can do this, and you really can't safely do it. I'm also looking at the other end of Hope Road and West Park and where the Enclave is going in, and there's no way to cross over 18. If you actually wanted to walk somewhere, you can't walk, and yet it's so walkable. If I want to go from my house and go down to the rec center across from the intermediate school, you can't do it.
That plan now, we have phase 1 of our West Park Avenue reconstruction, which will probably start prior to 2019, includes sidewalks from there to the highway. And then that'll, of course, connect to Poplar. So where you live on Gimbel, you'll be able to do just what you said, get to the gymnasium.
Is there any, I remember seeing it a couple years ago, it was there and then it was gone, about widening the section.
That's going to happen. That's part of phase 1 of
now,
West Park.
If they're going to widen West Park from Route 18 to, I guess, Poplar, Roller,
To Klein Street.
Okay, so
across the highway.
If they're going to do that, are they going to build a sound wall behind there? Because there's going to be traffic really close to people's homes. So is that also part of the plan?
No. You mean next to the manor?
Yeah.
No. No, what they're doing is probably stealing about 8 feet, pushing the sidewalk back a little bit. I mean, it's the same traffic that's there, it's just gonna give them a chance for the volume to disperse a little
you'll
quicker
make
at the
another
light.
lane?
You make another lane from 18 right to Poplar.
Right.
So you can, bike paths could go on there, again, that's county, but we could, it's just, you need so much room, but, you know, our intention is to make the bike path go around the 11-mile square.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but a lot of that's coming up. Okay.
Good questions.
Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Gallagher, come on up to the microphone.
Mark Lynch, 405 Lake Oakhurst. Just one more thing downstream of the Deal Road project, and you won't have to worry about vultures. There'll be plenty of vultures around. We see them all the time.
A lot of work for him, right, Mark?
And turkeys. And plenty of turkeys as well. The deer population, I think everyone knows, is an existential problem.
Mhm.
And this should exacerbate
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Deer, coyote. Is there any plan to deal with it in a humane way?
Well, we're discussing our options, you know. Mine, of course, would be the humane way, but, you know, we have to do something about the deer control. Because you're right, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of deers. Construction has forced them to move out of their habitat, unfortunately. And of course, the 30 acres is going to displace a few more. But yes, we had a plan. We had a visitor coming, not this month, it's November.
We're trying to schedule somebody from, her name is Jody Powers, from the Division of Wildlife in the state. She's going to come down. We haven't picked a date with her yet, but hopefully by the beginning of November, we'll have a date set for her to come down and talk to us.
One more thing, because there's a disconnect for me. When people come up to be involved, and democracy is tough, I know. People come up to be involved, and there is a disconnect between what's right and wrong and what is legal. It seems, anyway. Because things are, just as an example, we had an issue in town with an unpopular situation. People were able to voice their opinion, and it became relevant, okay, to that case. So, in my opinion, it shouldn't be, because irrespective of my opinion, okay? So now you have a situation where something's unpopular and we can't talk about it. Is that a cause and effect?
Oh, no, you can talk about it.
The same
Mark.
thing that would block you from speaking about a legal issue or something that's in litigation. Would that not also put a firewall between Chris speaking to someone in the religious community about the future of a religious site? Should that firewall also not exist for that? I mean,
I think, Mark, the only, the firewall really that our attorney's just trying to be protective of talking about specific sites because there's litigation there. But as an applicant, when the application for that project comes in, absolutely you'll be able to weigh in on it and have a say. And folks can say pretty much however they feel about it because it's a private builder building on private property. It's not a religious, it's different than any other case.
but why would a religious community not go through normal channels for approvals?
Well, guess what? The reason they're not in there is because they have to go through the normal channels, and they haven't done that yet.
So why an audience with the mayor?
Excuse me?
Why an audience with the mayor? Is there not, buildings and we have plenty of agencies that they have to deal with.
Right.
I mean, why would you have to be exposed to that? And I don't say this to to regurgitate yesterday's lunch or anything
No,
like that.
I guess you're talking about the Logan Road project?
Yeah.
The only thing I could say about that is that I'm not exposed to it. It came in, I think the group came in expecting to take occupancy, and as I stated, look, the judge granted them the use, that's fine, but occupancies are...
So it's just a courtesy.
Occupancies are jurisdiction, and they follow the same guidelines as Seaview Square Mall, who pays $800,000 a year in taxes, or the pizzeria on the corner.
Right.
We put them through our construction, our zoning, certain rigors that they have to meet and requirements, and they haven't met them, so consequently, we can't give them occupancy. So that was the only reason they met with me, was to come in and say, hey, we're getting ready to move in, and I had to explain to them. So nothing other than that.
You don't have to worry about celebrating the Yankees anymore. That's done.
No, let's not start that here. That's not germane to Ocean Township.
No, sir. No, sir. Well, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mark.
I plan on being here whenever Jackie's here, and
Jackie's good.
Fighting the good fight.
Good stuff.
Thanks, folks.
Thanks for coming. Anybody else? Up to the microphone? Well, Mrs. Hudson, before you go, I just want to give other folks a chance. Mr. Hudson, he's somebody else.
And while I'm up here, I just want to ask you a question. And
I'm
not
very
about Stop
patient.
and Shop.
Total
Did
disregard.
anybody notice all the planes that are up?
Yes, the
Now-
airplanes flying low.
I'll say. And also, you don't get any news. I'm wondering what's happening to the Monmouth Airport, because of course they would want to make that a big jet airport.
I don't
if they
know.
could. And I was wondering whether it had any connection. Anybody know?
No.
You should find
bad
out.
weather.
Good theory.
Bad weather there. House. Maybe there's something to do with Sputnik.
We got him on? Mr. Hudson? Do we need Vinny again, Mrs. Hudson? Vin's here. He's our technical guy. Peter, no help on that? You can't fix that mic, Pete? I don't know if he could do any worse.
No, you have to stop. 'Cause that shuts it on and off. So when you touch it, it's not off, it's on. Just
Okay.
give it to the boss.
We'll be out here soon. You gotta tell Mike about, well, he's been down the road, so. Okay, we got Monty Hall out there, he's gonna interview you.
Don't touch.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Siciliano.
You're welcome.
I was reminded at the Sewer Authority last meeting, at their monthly meeting on last Tuesday, of how well the authority is presently run versus the past, when it was used primarily as a retirement home for old, with benefits for old councilmen and political cronies. The reminders were, one, the 2018 budget introduction, which is about the same as last year's, of $7.1 million, and about $4.5 million in operating expenses, which, and Commissioner Villapiano noted, would be accomplished along with a very large capital improvement budget, would be accomplished without a rate increase for the 7th consecutive year. Secondly, the fact was that, somewhat to everybody's surprise, the Army Corps of Engineers has given a more or less blanket approval of the authority's plans for replacing the ocean outfall line, which is, excuse me, has been out of service, or at least leaking for many years. And the authority got a very good consulting engineer, Greeley and Hansen, to develop plans to replace the line. And the Corps of Engineers has approved both the new line, which extends further into the ocean than the old jointed line, which will be taken out of service when it's no longer needed. And
can be accomplished without any increase in taxes or user fees. So the results come from the fact that TOSA board is now almost perfectly balanced between the technical people who know exactly what is needed and when it needs to be done, and the non-technical people and Commissioner Stubbs and Villapiano, who always look on the aspects of costs and providing service for the community as a whole. Everybody should be very happy with the results. It is appropriate in this achievement to thank former Mayor Larkin and the council who was in place at the time, a couple of members of which are still here, and perhaps former manager Dave Cockle. Wasn't prior privy to the considerations that were undertaken in doing all of this, but the changes were necessary, and the resulting improvement is clearly apparent.
Great.
So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Good, thank you. Yep. We went out of our, made sure that we had folks on there that had, at least rudimentary knowledge and above of how a sewer plant ran. And so you have engineers, people who are involved in sewer plants. So, right, it was a process and it took a few years, but one by one we replaced them just in that order. And now you have folks who know how a sewer plant runs.
Very good balance now.
Yep. Good stuff, thank you. Before we close the meeting, anybody else have anything they'd like to share with us? No, well, we want to thank you all for coming. Oh, one more, Jackie? Okay. You got to come up to the mic.
It was, it came up with the deer. Are deer signs very expensive? Because we really don't have any on Deal Road, and it is, I mean, every I don't know, several nights a week, I feel like there's a dead deer on the side of the road.
Yeah, and this is a
and
rough
there's
time.
really not, I mean, when you turn off of Monmouth, there isn't any straight up
Right
till
here.
you get to.
There's one right across the street.
But if
Right
you're coming from like Allenhurst
Mhm.
and you make that left turn, there isn't a deer sign.
Till
And
you get
because
to Whale
sometimes
Pond.
they come out of the golf course.
Yeah.
And then you get to Whale Pond where there's that, and it's a big gathering ground there for them,
absolutely.
and there's no sign there. So I'm always going very slow because I know what's there, and I infuriate people behind me because they're like riding my bumper, they're beeping me, they're trying to get around me because I don't want to hit a deer for
Right.
my safety as well as theirs. So I really think we need a couple more. I put my own by my
saw.
house.
It was cute.
I know, but it doesn't light up. It's not.
Well, Mr. Michillo's hearing what you're saying, and so I have no problem with us adding any more. He'll talk to DPW.
Yeah, I think we need about 6 on Deal Road because
Well,
there's so
we
many,
don't
like
wanna-
right up by the highway.
We've got to
they're-
be careful about sign pollution because we have ordinances about that, so we don't go overboard, but enough to make it safe.
Yeah, but people get off Route 35. They're all amped up. They've come off the 35, the
Wanna
Parkway,
get home,
Route
yeah.
18, and it's bad.
Okay, thank you. Can't read it.
We'll have
All
a
right.
crossing guard.
Again, I want to thank you all for showing up tonight, and if you have anything, please reach out to us. We air twice a day at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., channel 22 and 77. Somebody make a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Deputy Mayor Chair.
Yes.
Council members Long.
Yes.
Napolitani.
Yes.
Shephaka.
Yes.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, thank you all for coming. Meeting adjourned.